Welcome back to the final section, or C block, of Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm PCM TV founder Jimmy Young, filling in for the vacationing Elena Pinto, who I promise will be back next week. Final reminder, please download the PCM TV app at the Google Play or App Store. It's free, and there you will find the most watched videos PCM TV has produced over the past 4 years. Each one of the news shows has over 10,000 views on YouTube, and there really is a documentation of the fight to end cannabis prohibition on that app. If you're interested in joining our staff of contributors, please reach out to me at jimmy@procannabismedia.com. Another legal state that continues to battle with their elected officials is Ohio. The Republican-controlled Senate in Ohio is trying to roll back many of the voter-initiated changes to cannabis laws in that state. The populace is not happy with their current lawmakers, and their governor, Mike DeWine, he would like nothing more than have this issue go away. In fact, he'd probably like the industry to go away as well, although he likes those heavy tax loads, I am sure. In the meantime, let's check in with our Ohio voter and advocate for the cause, Christina Brisson.
Hi, I'm Christina Brisson with Over the Top Renovations with your weekly Ohio Cannabis Report with Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Ohio sales have topped over $2.5 billion as of March 15th, and we've opened a new dispensary called Nectar in Southwest Ohio, strategically placed just on the other side of the Indiana border where cannabis still remains illegal. But as we see new stores open and new products coming, CBD store owners are afraid they're about to go out of business. These new House and Senate bills propose that CBD is now sold in dispensaries, receive a 15% tax, and own one of those people over the age of 21. But not to end everything in just bad news, it is April and this festival is coming up just around the corner. The Ohio 420 Cannabis Festival, of course, on 420 in Jacobsburg, Ohio, free for everyone to attend, so get out and participate. That is your weekly Ohio Cannabis Report, and I am Christina Brisson with Over the Top Renovations and Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
No Oregon report this week from Marianne Kersage as she takes off a few weeks to launch her Alibi brand in New York State. That state of Oregon has seen a lot of violence against dispensaries, a recall of products for mold and other growths, and now they're turning to the hemp products. By definition, hemp should only have 0.3% of intoxicating cannabinoid THC in dry weight if you measure it. Now, humans being humans, a loophole in the Farm Bill of 2018 that legalized the cannabis sativa plant in that hemp form has backfired now. There's a rogue billion-dollar market for all those hemp-based beverages, flowers, edibles, and vapes, all derived from the same plant and measured in order to be considered to be hemp. But now in Oregon, they're testing hemp products, and what do you think they found? More THC than it's supposed to be in there. Now they have a real problem because not only are these products being sold in Oregon, but the labeling does not reflect the makeup of the hemp, and when tests far exceeds that 0.3% limit, you got trouble. Researchers from that state's Compliance Commission conclude that the results of their secret study showed widespread non-compliance with state and federal laws. This should really come as no surprise to anyone who's been part of the legacy or illegal market for the past century of use of cannabis in this country. The attempt by states and the feds to control the plant, limit its potency, and track it from seed to sale has been so poorly initiated, this whole legalization movement has been a boon for the still existing illegal or legacy market. Now, trying to control either side of the plant is going to be very difficult, yet many states believe that Oregon are trying just to do that. In the meantime, let's go to Oklahoma and check in with Kimmy Cannabis.
I am Kimmy Cannabis from Can I Talk About It, and this is the Oklahoma Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Eagles Farm, a family-run cannabis business in Muskogee County, was raided on June 14, 2021. Melinda Halliburton and her family suffered the devastating loss of over 60,000 plants, chopped, burned, and destroyed. Halliburton described the experience as a targeted attack, a family business dismantled by racism and stereotypes, stating they used several government agencies to destroy medicine we were proudly growing to save lives. After nearly 4 years of legal battles, her fight for justice ended on February 14th, when her case was dismissed with one charge deferred without conviction. We celebrate her resilience and her victory. Meanwhile, the Texoma Hitta high-intensity drug trafficking area released a 79-page report painting a misleading picture of Oklahoma's cannabis industry. The report exaggerated statistics, reinforcing outdated reefer madness narratives. It claimed that adult past month cannabis use increased by 162% from 2019 to 2022, compared to pre-legalization years. While the report highlighted increased hospital visits, it clearly stated that all referenced incidents were non-fatal, further proving that cannabis does not cause death. Our very own Jimmy Young stated, "What isn't explained, as usual, is the fact that of course there is increased use. It's legal and available. Emergency room visits are because people aren't used to stronger cannabis that is now accessible. They need education about what to do when they get too high. These things happen in all new states. Think about it. States legalize the plant but fail to educate the public, and in fact, they ban licensed, knowledgeable professionals from advertising or sharing any of the health benefits when consumed responsibly." It has been suggested by an inside source that similar reports may surface in other states ahead of upcoming elections, aiming to sway public opinion against cannabis. In conclusion, we cannot keep electing people who are against cannabis and expect to get favorable legislation. That's it for the Oklahoma Cannabis Report. Peace, love, and all that good stuff.
Next up, it's all about our friends from the indigenous community and the tribal lands who are very quickly carving out a nice chunk of the billion-dollar market of cannabis. When it comes to following that trend, Tina Tasaka has that covered.
I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies, and this is the Nevada and Tribal Nations Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Impactful words were delivered by Chairman Thomas Fowler, St. Croix Chippewa Indians of Wisconsin, at the State of the Tribes address at the Wisconsin Capitol, March 18th. During his address, he discussed indigenous sovereignty and the urgent need for legalization of medical cannabis. In his speech, he recognized support from the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association, ICIA, and the Wisconsin Tribal Task Force on Cannabis. This tribe and the leadership is looking at data, and the chairman describes the deep suffering to the tribes due to opioid addiction. This leader states that medical marijuana assists with addiction, pain management, epilepsy, post-traumatic stress, and more. Please watch an excerpt from this eloquently delivered message from Chairman Fowler.
Naya's story isn't unique. Overdoses have nearly wiped out a generation of our tribal nation's mothers and fathers. Through the regulation of medical marijuana in the state of Wisconsin, we can work towards moving people off highly addictive drugs which are killing our people. Recent data indicates that in this state of Wisconsin, where cannabis is not legal, there is a 25% reduction in opioid use and overdoses.
UNLV's Cannabis Policy Institute continues deep forensics into Nevada's cannabis industry. Recent meetings discussed Nevada's cannabis industry is well positioned for future interstate commerce, putting Nevada fifth in a report analyzing which states may thrive when federal restrictions ease. Currently, state lines act as walls due to marijuana's Schedule I classification, preventing businesses from selling across state borders. While cannabis in Las Vegas remains pricey, costs have significantly dropped, making the state more competitive. Despite its strong tourism industry, Nevada hasn't fully capitalized on its 41.7 million visitors due to restrictions on strip sales. Experts suggest potential solutions like kiosks in non-gaming areas or to integrate cannabis into the state's hospitality and entertainment sectors. Nevada's ranking as a dark horse in the top 5 highlights its potential for growth, especially if federal legalization opens the door for interstate trade. That's it for the Nevada highlights and Tribal Nations. I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies and Cannabis Coast to Coast News.
The stock market is going crazy, but that doesn't bother a seasoned day trader veteran like Doug Miller. He's always high on Wall Street. This week, he takes a look at Tilray.
I'm Doug Miller from High on Wall Street with this week's Cannabis Stock Report for Cannabis Coast to Coast News. Tilray Brands announced that the company will release financial results for its third quarter fiscal 2025 ended February 28th, 2025 before financial markets open on April 8th, 2025. They also announced the lawsuit against the company had been dismissed in Massachusetts court. So let's see how the stock chart looks. It's trading around 66 cents with some recent pullback. It does appear it wants to run up a little bit, but this market is super choppy, so you have to trade smart and lock in those profits. And that's this week's Cannabis Stock Report. Reporting for Cannabis Coast to Coast News, I'm Doug Miller.
And finally tonight, a very disturbing story about a sneaky move by the DEA to counter the 420 cannabis celebration that happens to fall on April 20th, Easter Sunday this year. Now, I don't spend any time on Instagram, but I know how popular it is among young people. It's their practice of censorship and shadow banning for people in the cannabis industry that really makes me mad. Now, the DEA is never going to be shadow banned for this promotion they are supporting to create messaging by young people that is anti-420. Why don't we just call them all prohibitionists? The DEA is encouraging young people to post and also send in their short videos with their anti-THC messages. They could win $25 or $50 if chosen. This contest has been organized by the Johnny Ambassadors Foundation, a group of cannabis prevention activists who are asking that on April 20th, they want to flood Instagram with their anti-THC messages. They are urging young people to share their own stories and provide education on why young people should not use THC. How about the fact that it's an adult product over 21? Can we start there? Does anybody think this is fair anyway? Is this how we should be educating our kids? So public service announcements that are anti-cannabis are okay to share with the masses, but any story about the positive effects of this plant medicine should be banned. Do you have any idea how many young people's lives have been saved and changed who use this plant for medicinal purposes? The DEA will not be sharing those stories, even though the anecdotal evidence is overwhelming. I could probably rant a lot more about this subject, but the bottom line is we need to educate all consumers about the impact this plant can have on your life. Now, if you consume it responsibly and get educated, perhaps there is a way to find it. It's not for everybody, but pushing the envelope to see just how much they can get away with, that's what young people do. And it's up to the parents and the adults to guide them and put parameters and boundaries on their activities. Now, I'm just looking for balanced messaging, preaching education and responsible use. Okay? That'll do it for this week's edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast News. I'm PCM TV founder Jimmy Young, reminding you all that it is a whole new world of weed out there, so please consume responsibly if you choose to do so. I now leave you all with some video from the Yellow Labs bud crawl that in the Berkshires of Massachusetts that I took part in over this past weekend. 14 dispensaries in all in under 24 hours, and only one that wouldn't allow me to take any video footage. And no, I won't name that one. In the meantime, I will tell you that Elena Pinto will be back next week.
I think I messed up. Did you know there's a place that covers all the cannabis news you need? Welcome to Cannabis Media, your go-to for all things cannabis. PCM is the CNBC of weed, bringing you the latest news and talk shows with a twist. We've got 16 state correspondents and multimedia journalists from around the US and Canada.
Hey everybody, it's Brandon Jones with Big Green Distribution with the Missouri Cannabis Report.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters.
Andrew Behringer here reporting from Washington, D.C.
Debbie Fazy with the Canadian Toke of the Week.
It all started back in 2018 when founder Jimmy Young kicked off the In the Weeds podcast. His mission? documenting the fight to end cannabis prohibition. Fast forward to today, and we've got Cannabis Coast to Coast with Elena Pinto, delivering the nation's only TV-style cannabis news show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Cannabis Coast to Coast, PCM TV's weekly roundup of industry news from California to New York. I'm Elena Pinto.
As of August 2024, PCM has racked up over 1.2 million views and 14.5 million impressions on our YouTube channel. With 15,000 subscribers and growing, our reach is spreading like wildfire. PCM's website, YouTube, Rumble, Discord, Roku, Twitch, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and even our very own PCM TV app. Get your cannabis news fix with Pro Cannabis Media. We're here to keep you informed and entertained. Stay tuned and stay lifted.